Hey home bakers, what's up? Now that we have clarity on what different types of chocolate cakes are all about, and if you're still not sure, then watch this video. Today, let's make one of the most popular variations of chocolate cake, the chocolate truffle cake. In this video, not only will we discuss what kind of sponge you need for a real dark and deep chocolate truffle cake, but you will also get the recipe for my super shiny mirror glaze to pour on top of this cake. And not only that, I will share with you my secret syrup which I soak this cake with, and it takes it to the next level where flavor is concerned. So without further ado, let's get started. Since we're making a half kg chocolate truffle cake today, I have here a 6-inch 300 gram sponge. This, my friends, is no ordinary sponge. I have given it depth of flavor by adding a little bit of coffee and using Dutch process, that is the darker cocoa powder. You can see the sponge looks so dark and delicious. I've cut this into 3 layers with a serrated bread knife. If you find that difficult, you can use a cake leveling tool or a thread to do this as well. The video showing those methods is linked on the screen here. On my turntable, I have a silicone mat which will keep the cake board firmly in place, and I'm using an 8-inch board for this cake. A little ganache to serve as glue for the first layer, and the recipe for this ganache is linked on top of the screen. As usual, I have my favorite triple nozzle squeezy bottle filled with the secret syrup I promised you the recipe for. What makes this syrup so special is the addition of a little coffee again and glucose powder to it. The exact quantities for the recipe are in the link in the description box below, along with a purchase link for this bottle if you want it. I'm adding generous layers of ganache between the sponge and making sure to level each time. Leveling between each layer is most important because this is what is going to ensure that our cake, when it is final, stands absolutely straight and tall. Now I'm taking off the paper from the bottom layer, which I have turned upside down, as that is always the most level surface. One final soak, and I'm now going to fill any gaps in the sides of the cake with a ganache that is peeking out from between the sponge layers. This will serve as a kind of a semi-crumb coat, as it will make sure that the extra crumbs stick to the cake and don't come into our frosting. A little extra if it is needed. And now to the leftover ganache, I'm going to add some plain whipped cream. This is going to form the first layer of thin frosting on our cake to ensure an absolutely smooth surface for our mirror glaze to flow on, as well as serve as a thick crumb coat. We have to make sure that this cake is nicely chilled after this. We have used 2 methods to enhance the flavor of our cake, and one in the sponge, one in the syrup. When you're making this sponge, it really does not matter what recipe you're using. Even if you're using a premix or using an egg-based recipe, or whether you're using an eggless recipe, you can add the coffee powder and use Dutch processed cocoa powder to make sure that you have a really nice deep flavor to your sponge. When you're using these additions to a premix, you can use them along in your chocolate premix, or with increasing the quantity of the cocoa powder slightly, you can actually even use a vanilla premix for this. That done, we are now going to chill the cake for at least 20 to 30 minutes so that the cream firms up enough not to get disturbed when we pour the warmer mirror glaze on it. If you're finding this video useful and interesting, now is the time to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that bell icon to keep receiving content like this, which is going to be so useful for you. Right, the cake is well chilled now, and our mirror glaze is also ready to be poured. The cake is really nicely set. The cream will not be disturbed when we pour over this mirror glaze. Recipe for the mirror glaze is linked on the screen here. As you can see, the consistency is that of a thin milkshake, and it is just a little bit warm. But since our cake is really cold, it will start setting up quickly once we pour it on. Spread the glaze with as few strokes as possible to get the shiniest surface. Since you're home bakers, I'm sure you do not wish to waste. And so, videos showing your glaze pouring off the cake onto the board and then off the board really bothers you. Here is a method that will not waste any glaze, but you do need to work a little quickly with it. So, using upward strokes to pull up the excess glaze on the board and spreading it sideways as you go along will do the job. Here you need to pour only as much glaze as required. Let a little bit drip off the sides and settle on the board. But before it actually sets on the board, we will make upward strokes using that excess mirror glaze and pull it to the top. And then pull it sideways and go along as and complete the entire side of the cake. All done, and we will refrigerate the cake for another 10 to 15 minutes. But before you do that, do clean the cake board very well, because once this glaze sets, it will be a nightmare to remove from the board. Okay, so I have the leftover chocolate cream in my jumbo star nozzle bag and a little lighter chocolate cream with a smaller star nozzle. As you can see, this is a modern looking cake, and I'm adding some chocolate coins, macarons as part of my garnish. The recipe for the macarons is also given in the description box. There is a link for a video for it. Some chocolate vermicelli, a few chocolate coated hazelnuts, gold spray for a nice bling bling, followed by gold flakes and sprinkles. And finally, I am piping a heartfelt wish. It's ready. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope it taught you a few things. So, see you in the next one.